seasons lost. In Austin, I saw, pause, my eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Roll dice and woes of life. Love deprived, look at her vibe. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, focus reflected. Often bears a pit, quick, gritted from ear to ear. Craving that rain in the grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is.
In paradise, yes we do. We know what our worth is. And if you don't know what your worth is, you should probably find that out. Welcome to everybody to the after 4th of July. What do I want to call it? It's not a terrible Tuesday. It's terrific Tuesday here on the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark, and today we're coming to you from Georgia's Happy Hog here in Oklahoma City. And, of course, if you have not been to Georgia's Happy Hog, then that is your fault, and you are definitely missing up. Georgia's Happy Hog is located here at 712 Culbertson Drive, just east of Lincoln Boulevard, just south of the Capitol, north of OU Medical Center. Great place to have barbecue. Of course, they got it by the pound. They got it by whatever dinners, whatever you want. And, of course, I've already had mine. You can't see it behind me, but I had my lunch, and I was running a little late today because I was sitting there trying to get my grub on and trying to set up everything and just running a little slow from this weekend. And definitely had a great time. Hopefully you guys had fun on your 4th of July weekend as well. So I'm all excited about doing the show today. We got a bunch going on, a bunch of NBA talk, or news, I should say news, as well as some stuff we're going to talk about college football and what's going on there and the big moves that these conferences are making, especially two conferences, that is, being the SEC and the Big Ten, two of the predominant colleges or conferences. And, of course, the Big 12 conference. I don't know how great you want to call it, but, you know, the Big 12 is losing OU and Texas, but also gaining UCF, Houston, Cincinnati, and I think that's it. UCF, Houston, Cincinnati, and BYU. Oh, hey, Drew. What's going on, big man?
Hey, how we doing?
Good. That's my guy, Drew Hinthorn from Husker Drew Picks.
Happy hungover day.
I'm struggling a little bit from the weekend, yes.
Man, I got burnt up yesterday. It was hot. We were out of the water all day.
Yeah, it's definitely hot. I saw some pics of you and the girls out there, and the girls enjoying themselves. And, of course, the fur baby could not be left out, and she was out there having fun herself going, what the hell? Huh?
She got inducted yesterday to the water in the boat in the lake.
She loved that, didn't she?
Oh, yeah. She had time of her life.
Yeah, because it looked like she was like, why are they in the water and not me? Whoa, what's going on? I don't know if I like this. I said I wouldn't pick up her looking like, oh, my God, what's going on? Or why are y'all there? What is that? So that was funny. I thought that was it cracked me up. But
how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Worked Sunday from 7 to 2. I actually got a Friday and Saturday off. So thanks to my boy Gary Vick, my guy at Santa Fe Family Life Center, gave me Friday and Saturday off. I hadn't had a Friday, Saturday off, Drew, and I don't know how long, but, brother, I made the most of it. Saturday was definitely a struggle trying to get caught up, but, I had a good time on Thursday night and Friday night, and Saturday I was licking my wounds because I'm just not used to going out and doing that this late at night. But other than that, I had a good time.
Quite a few goings on in the sports world.
Yep. That's what we're getting ready to talk about, brother. We're going to jump right into the NBA.
I'm going to have to lean on your knowledge. I caught the cliff notes of some of the stuff.
Well, I sent you some stuff, but we're going to jump right into it. Let's talk about the trades, and then you and I can just discuss, the trades as we go along. And, well, not counting P.J. Tucker, but, DeJounte Murray to the Hawks, I thought that was a great pick by the Hawks simply because the big thing is that our boy Trey got exposed by saying, okay, just take him out. What else is Atlanta going to do? Now with DeJounte
Right.
Murray, what are you going to do? You can't do that anymore.
And they just signed another guy right before that too. Who was it that they signed last week? They got somebody in the trade.
Yeah, but that
was a big
wasn't.
deal.
That's not. That's not this. I'm only putting the ones that I'm putting in stuff that I think is
Right.
impactful. And the DeJounte Murray
Gotcha.
to me is something that's going to take Atlanta to another level because now what are you going to do? You can't double trade.
Mm-hmm.
If you double trade, he's going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? He led the league in steals. He, shot 50% from the field. I mean, we watched him quite a bit at San Antonio against the Thunder, and he just wore us out in mid-range. Which I'm glad that the mid-range is starting to come back, Drew. I like that people are starting to understand, hey, I can score a lot of points by not just trying to shoot up a bunch of threes.
Yeah, I had a nasty leaner, so I like that coming back.
Yeah, but well, yeah, you would like that, but you was a big man with
Little 1 foot Hornacek leaner.
Really, Hornacek, really. That's the one you're gonna come over. I dominated him, man. Come on now, come on, give me somebody that's worth talking about. I dominated him.
Didn't he block your shot one time?
Bro, nobody blocked my shot, bro, until I got to the league. I didn't get my shot blocked until I got to the league. Well, I'll take it back. One guy blocked it in the Oklahoma City All-Star game. If you've been to Northwest Class, you know how they have the gym, and then you come in and there's like that little area that's where their trophies or whatever, but it's blocked off from the gym. Well, he blocked my shot on the, I guess it's the north end up against the wall, jumped all in my face. I looked at him like, oh, you coming to me, right? Okay. And he played for Northeast. His name's Keith. I caught his ball. I caught it, threw it out in the hallway. It bounced, almost went out the front entranceway out into the parking lot. I looked at him, don't ever talk to me again. But yes. But anyway, Malcolm Brogdon, dude, the Celtics, that is a huge pickup for them. And did you see where Marcus was like?
That makes him better. I mean, that makes him better on day one with him.
And you see where Marcus was like, oh, we don't need a point guard. Yes, you do. You're not it, bro. You are not it. And then for you to come out and talk trash on your teammates, all that did was make it that much more of an easy decision to go ahead and bring Brogdon in if he can stay healthy.
All right.
Because you remember you and I talked about the Lakers trying to get Brogdon and Buddy Hield, remember? In a trade earlier in this year. And so, but the Celtics, they got big. I think the Hawks got better. The Celtics got better. Then, of course, Rudy Gobert. Dude, what they gave up with him, are you serious?
Yeah.
3 unprotected draft picks? Are you serious? Wow. I didn't know. When I saw that, I'm like, are you kidding? They got 5 first-round picks. And I mean, for Gobert? And no wonder Kevin Durant can't get traded. Because you got to give up, I mean, for Rudy, for KD, what do you got to give up? 6 or 7 first-round picks? Or something stupid and some players. But I do believe that that's going to make T-Wolves better because unlike some people, I think that that's going to help Karl Anthony Towns because Karl Anthony Towns does not like to play inside. He doesn't want to be physical. He just wants to shoot the 3. He's soft as cotton candy. And another knock on them, they had no rim protectors at there. And I think that's going to make a huge difference for them as far as having a rim protector with the T-Wolves. What do you think?
He kind of already ran his course at Utah anyway. I thought. I mean, he was sitting the bench a lot in the second halves of playoff games because he was a liability.
Right, he's a liability. Well, but that's what everybody feels like. But see, to me, this is how I look at that. The NBA has gone to old school basketball. You got a big guy, you got a little guy. They're just going to pound you inside. Okay, yeah, you're going to score some threes sometimes, but we're going to make sure we get 2 at least almost every time. And we're going to put your people in foul trouble. And we're going to force you to play our way. And I don't think that Utah maximized their deal because they just want to shoot threes. And they're a 3-point shooting team, and you get behind, and he just wasn't there. Plus, Donovan Mitchell and him after that crap that he pulled, was it 2 years ago when he did that when Oklahoma City when he stopped the NBA? Wasn't that 2 years ago? Was that 2 years ago, right? When he stopped the NBA. And, because there people don't even realize this, he had been around Donovan, and Donovan went to Dale City and hung out with a bunch of kids at Dale City High School and was playing around and shooting around with them before the game that day. Now think about that. How many kids could he have gotten sick? And then, a lot of, not to mean bad, but a lot of young black kids.
Then he made fun of it, though, his sarcastic remarks and his nonchalant
attitude
press
towards
conference
it. Uh-huh.
did not help his
No,
case.
but my issue was, you got a lot of young black kids. They were raised by their grandparents, man, their grandmother. That could have been very, 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 very bad. So anyway, but the overall trade, I like it for Utah because they got a bunch of trades, and Danny Ainge did good on that. Second thing that I like about it is I think that it helps the T-Wolves because, like I said, Karl Anthony Towns does not like to play inside. He likes to shoot the three. He likes to play. He's soft as cotton candy, so I think that opens it up for them. And then on the other side of that, they get picks. Plus, the next big deal to drop, I believe, is Donovan Mitchell won't be there. What are your thoughts? Do you hear me, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, number one, he's not going to want to be there.
Well, he wants out anyway.
Are you there?
Drew. He wants out, Drew.
Yeah, I mean,
Donovan wants out.
Yeah, he won't want to be there. I mean, not getting rid of his whole team around him.
Right. But he's been wanting to go anyway. You know what I'm saying? He's been wanting out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And so.
Now, where he wants to go is a whole nother story.
Well, the question is, where can he go? And that's something we're going to talk about as well. And by the way, the other big news, I don't know if you saw this. It was kind of a bleep. PJ Tucker to the Sixers.
Yeah, I saw that.
PJ Tucker to the Sixers. That's huge, man.
That's big. That's big for them. Another body.
But that allows what? That gives them another guy physicality on defense. One that opens up Embiid to do more inside. Plus, PJ will go defend whoever the big guy, which allows Embiid to rest a little bit more. PJ can guard that big guy or that other power forward. So that gives them that.
Yeah.
And I do believe I'm gonna have the same mindset as a lot of people. I do believe James Harden is washed. But we shall see if he comes back in shape. We shall see. But those days of him being 20 pounds overweight and coming in and playing himself in shape are over at 32 or whatever he is. Those days are over. But I don't think James cares. I think James is stuck where he's at. I think James is just doing what James is wanting to do, and basketball is not important in his life. That's kind of what I think about that.
He got plenty of money.
He got plenty of money. He just doesn't care. And James is. I don't think he cares anyway. Knowing the guy, I've never been a fan of his. I just didn't like how he acted, his attitude towards people, especially when he was in Oklahoma City. I got to know the different side of him, not the fake side, and this is just par for the course to me as far as he is concerned. Now let's talk about KD. His possible landing spots. He said he wants the Suns, the Raptors, the Sixers, or the Warriors. Thoughts?
Suns, Raptors, Sixers, Warriors probably not going to happen.
Well, the Warriors are entertaining it, bro.
Right.
Which
Sixers, Suns, what were the other two? Raptors.
Sixers, the Suns is his number one destination option, and then the Raptors.
Well, I saw something come across about Booker earlier. What was that?
Well, no. They're keeping Booker. They're just going to give up a bunch of picks, and they'd give up the big boy, and they'd give up what's your boy? The other Bridges, Mikal Bridges. Not
Bridges.
Miles, but Mikal Bridges. They give up Mikal Bridges, the Ayton, and picks. But I think now with Rudy Gobert setting the standard as far as picks, I think that's where the hurdle, because the Suns would have to basically mortgage their franchise to get KD there.
Mm-hmm. They don't really need him. I mean,
yeah, I think they do. They don't have another guy, man. They need somebody else who can score consistently.
Yeah, but
that's it.
There's other guys out there that you could add in there.
They consistently score the way he can.
Well, no, but nobody does that.
I know that, but what I'm saying
very
is,
few people.
But what I'm saying is, what they did is they keyed on Booker, and let's face it, Chris Paul is old. He just can't go deep into the playoffs. His legs just don't. He can't play the minutes, and he's just the physicality of it. He just can't. He's not durable enough. So to me, the Suns need somebody else who could come in and score, and then they need another point guard to back up Chris, to give Chris minutes to get him by. So because to me, I don't think, what's our boy's name, left-handed guy that we drafted, Cameron Payne. Cameron Payne.
Yeah, Cameron Payne.
Yeah, I've never liked that pick. To me, I think he was average, but he was.
He was average except when he lit the Lakers up in the playoffs.
Okay, one time.
Yeah,
one time.
That
everybody has a day, Drew. Everybody has a day.
That's true.
So to me, I'm like, everybody has 1 year. Everybody has. I don't go in sports. To me, anybody can have a year when nobody knows who the hell you are and what's going on. Now when they know what you got, it's just like Cincinnati Bengals. Hey, nobody saw you coming. Now when everybody's preparing for you, now what you gonna do? Okay? When everybody sees you coming, that's the thing about Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing about Josh Allen. That's the thing about some of these guys. When they know Patrick Mahomes, you already know what's happening. So they said, okay, we're just gonna make you methodically drive down the field, and all he's done is go into 4 straight AFC Championship games. So we're gonna see what happens with that. And then poor Baker. I'm so tired of this, man, Drew. Come on, Browns. Pay part of the man's salary and let him go. You don't want him in camp.
Yeah.
I just don't, Drew. What is your answer?
What's that?
What is your answer to that?
Well,
I know we're going off script a little bit, but since we went there, it's just driving me crazy.
To lack of a better word, they need to shit or get off the pot.
Yeah.
I mean, just do something. They're just sitting around waiting for answers that. They're not ever going to be a perfect answer for that situation. They just need to let him play or trade him. One of the two.
Well, the problem is, how can he go back in that locker room?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
We
talked about that before.
You and I are former players, dude. That locker room, and people don't understand. If you haven't been in the locker room, you don't understand. It ain't. Right. It ain't. If you ain't accepted in there by nobody, it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. It's just not. You got to have.
He was already on shaky ground in that locker room.
Yep. And now, after he did it, and like I told him, I said, no. When nobody comes to your defense, that's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good. It's not good. But anyway, so we're doing that. But okay, let's stay in the NBA since we're still got to keep going on that. Lakers Nets, yay or nay? I'm like. To me, the Lakers, why would you want – I understand you're trying to get rid of Russell. And, yes, even when you get Kyrie, it's still for 1 year. You got Russell for 1 year. I still don't really – I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it because if you get Kyrie, you only got it for 1 year. Okay, you only got it for 1 year. Now, you save, what was it, 36 million? Yeah, if the Lakers trade for Kyrie, they save 36 million. It's like $8-9 million off of the Russell thing, and then because of the salary, because of the money that they would not be being paid in luxury tax, it was another 20-something million. So it's going to save them $30 million for doing the deal for Kyrie, but that's just for 1 year. And Kyrie is Kyrie. So, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute, Drew. And hell, we might as well go to that right now. I didn't send this to you, but yes, I did. The NBA mobility. I sent you. Remember, I sent you that pic. Did you get it? Of the NBA mobility of all the players. And it's like Jimmy Butler. He's been to 3 different teams. Has it worked? No. Anthony Davis, he's been to 2 teams. Did you work? Yeah, you got 1 title after that. KD has been to 3 different teams. Has it worked? Sure, he got 2 titles. Paul George, has that worked? No. James Harden? No. Kyrie Irving? No. And I put an asterisk by LeBron. I've got him for 3 teams. But really, is it 4 teams because he played at Cleveland twice? And those are 2 different teams. So I don't know if that's him, 3 teams or 4 teams. And then Kawhi Leonard, no. Chris Paul, he's been to 5 teams. And you and I are still mad about the Lakers, how they blocked him not going to the Lakers from the Hornets in the first place. Talking about,
cost Kobe at least 2.
Go ahead.
Cost Kobe at least 2 rings.
I agree 100%. I think Russell Westbrook, 4 teams, getting ready to be on his 5th team in 5 years. But let's take it. Jimmy Butler, 3 teams. No. Anthony Davis, okay, yes. He and LeBron, let's face it, the first year they were together, they won a title. Last year, or was it? Yeah, 2 years ago. Well, last year, whatever. Had AD not gotten hurt, they would have beat Phoenix. You agree?
I agree.
They would have beat Phoenix.
100%.
And they probably would have beaten Milwaukee, because I don't think Milwaukee. Chris Middleton, because I think LeBron and Giannis, that they're going to squash each other. But Chris Middleton versus AD, the Lakers had the complete advantage in that. So, and then Kawhi Leonard, I still put an asterisk by the Toronto thing because they got lucky. But anyway, they still won it. And then Chris Paul, I don't know, Drew. Do you penalize Chris Paul? Do you criticize or do you punish Chris Paul, Drew, for what happened to him? I mean, because remember he got traded to the Clippers instead of the Lakers, and that wasn't his fault. If he's with the Lakers, I agree. He and Kobe together, they would have been ridiculous because they both had that same "I'm gonna kill you" mentality. They would have been perfect together.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, he's great in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, and then that his body starts getting to him.
Well, because they start beating the crap out of him.
Down the wear and tear of 7-game series and the travel back and forth and you know as well as I do the intensity of the playoffs. It gets a little rougher, a little more stressful, and I think it just wears him down mentally and physically.
I agree, mentally and physically beats him up, and I think that's right. So I don't really trade him. And then of course he got traded to Houston because he and Blake weren't getting along, and so I saw that. I was okay with that. And then the Oklahoma City thing, that was just Russell wanting to leave. And remember, we were 3 minutes away from really going to the conference finals against the Lakers.
Yep.
Remember? I mean, all right, should have beat Houston, but just didn't have enough weapons. And then, of course, he gets to Phoenix, and you got to give Sam Presti a little love for trading him to Phoenix and giving him a chance for an opportunity to win a ring. I will give kudos to Sam Presti for doing that because he didn't have to do that. But he did that, and I thought that was pretty cool.
You got to back to Kyrie. You were kind of cutting out of me there. I mean, do you not think that the Lakers would be in line to sign him for more than 1 year?
Well, I think, but that's one thing. Darvin Ham thinks that he can control Kyrie. Okay, that's the first thing. I think Kyrie understands if he's playing with LeBron and AD, that's a benefit to him. But his biggest issue is going to be, bro, you in LA. You can't because there's a shooting somewhere. You can't take 7 days, 11 games on 11-game road trip, and it's 7 games, 11 days you take off because for personal reasons. That don't work in LA. That might work in Brooklyn. That might work in Cleveland. That might even barely work in Boston. Actually, he did not do that in Boston. That's not going to work in L.A. So he's got to understand where you're playing and what's required of you if you put on the purple and gold, what is required of you as a player. And the question is Kyrie going to be able to make that transition to that type of mentality where he's willing to play? Now, I think it'd be good for him, personally. That's just my thought on it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I think that, he's played with LeBron before.
And he realizes he messed up, and he knows he messed up, so he admitted that. But to get AD and LeBron, you know what I'm saying? You got 2, and that means.
The thing is that they,
Go ahead, Drew.
That's going to open up some free agency things. I think of some folks that want to come in and try to win a ring.
But the problem with the Lakers is at that point, though, you're still in luxury cap hell still. Now, I will say this with the young group of guys they got, man, Scottie Pippen Jr., man, I'm liking what I've seen thus far, dude. Haven't you?
Yep.
I mean, I like what I see thus far with him. I'm going, okay.
They play tonight at 5:30.
Yep. I'll be watching that, and I'm just like, man, okay, the Lakers got a little deal. And then I saw a report where they want to get Isaiah Roby, who got waived by the Thunder, which I completely understand. And Roby started.
Cornhusker.
Yeah, I agree. And he played pretty well this year at the end. I was like, okay, he still can't play defense, but he played better offensively. He was scoring. He was getting some buckets. He was doing some things. But I do understand why the Thunder is like, okay, we already have Robinson Earl, and the reason why you were playing, even though I liked Roby from the very beginning when I saw him in preseason, I liked him over Robinson Earl or just as much as Robinson Earl. But, he's been in the league longer, and you have to pay him, and you don't have to pay Robinson Earl. So I get that. That makes sense to me. But at the same time, on the other side of that, Drew, what you're going to do, the Lakers, I mean, you can go get him or go get somebody like him for minimum to nothing, really. You can maximize him at, $6 million a year or something like that? So you can get him pretty cheap. Right. You know what I mean? You can get him pretty cheap. So I'm okay with
It's
that.
just a nice little filler piece, nice somebody
Yes.
come in off the end, give you some minutes.
Right, exactly, 100% with that. So I'm okay with what's happening there. But the Lakers, I think Drew they could sign Kyrie to multiple year deal. But you remember LeBron's got to sign next year. Remember he's got to re up next
Yep.
year for 2 more years. AD you still have for 2 years, 3 more years. Is that right? Yeah, 3 more years. You have AD.
Yeah, well, I think this LeBron James thinking that Bronny's going to be in the NBA first or second round pick. I think he's living a pipe dream.
I
I've
agree.
watched him. He's
I,
not even the second or third best player on his high school team.
Well, but you remember he's the second the best player in him. He's they're 1-2 on his high school team. They're 1-2, Drew.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched him play enough, and on his Nike team, his LeBron's team, he's 1 or 2 with that too. But at his position, now talk
Right.
about overall player, but at his position. But they're gonna LeBron
They've got the one kid they got on their team probably going to be the number one player in high school. And then there's another guard on that team. I watched a deal on the other night that, to me, looks just as good as Bronny. So I guess my point being is LeBron sticking around saying, "Oh, I may go play with Orlando or whoever drafts my kid." I don't know for sure that's going to happen.
Well, that's him. That's him promoting and trying to use his power to get him. That's what that is.
Yep.
Okay, that's he's trying to get him in and trying to go, hey, look, draft my kid. This is what's going to happen. This is what I can do for you all. And to me, I'm just like, yeah, no, bro, that's not happening.
I guess they could always pick him up free agent, if he did something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I don't see that. I don't really get that, but whatever. I just think that to answer your question, the Lakers should be able to sign Kyrie, but Kyrie walks to a different drum. But if he understands, I'm getting, what is Kyrie now? 30, 28, 29, 30?
That'll be 30.
Yeah, so he's starting to wind down in his career. And I think this offseason realized that nobody wants him. I mean, nobody really wanted him. And I think that was sobering to him, so that might help him get to L.A. Plus, he's going to be able to score. You're going to be in the limelight. The opportunities off the field to make money just go to another level when it comes to that. So those are all great opportunities for him to get better and to do more things. So that's it. But I'm going to say this. The Atlanta Hawks and the Celtics got tremendously better through the offseason. I think that the T-Wolves got better because they got a shot blocker. They got somebody to protect the paint. Even though, did you hear what Anthony Edwards said? He goes, he was more afraid of Porzingis in the paint than he was Rudy Gobert.
Right.
I said, wow. Okay, I disagree. I don't know about that, but Porzingis doesn't really scare me. If I'm going to the paint, I got a 6'11" skinny dude. That really doesn't bother me. You know what I'm saying, Drew?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I'm like, I don't know about all that, bro. I can't get that. But whatever. He's the one playing in the league, and he's definitely one of the best players in the NBA, and will continue to get better. So I'm not going to really say anything about that. Only he really knows how that works. So, but anyway, anything else in the NBA you want to talk about?
Oh man, there's just so much. It's gonna take a few days to process everything that's moving. There's a lot of moving pieces today. That's what I'm getting at. I'm just kind of reading through just NBA TV daily, and
Well, see, remember we have tomorrow. We got tomorrow. Yeah. We have Thursday. So we had a bunch of days. But I was just trying to. What I did for this weekend was says, okay, what are the most important things that I see that were important moves, and I took that. There's a bunch of others, like I said, the Isaiah Roby deal. I mean, there's tons of stuff. There's, all the different, you can go into draft picks, who are unprotected, who were protected, that were traded, and you can go through all that. You look at Golden State and what they did by letting go of Otto Porter and GP3 and picking up DiVincenzo. So, I mean,
yeah, DiVincenzo's a nice pickup.
It is for that only for $9 million or whatever they got him for 3 years, $9 million or something ridiculous. So, but getting rid of Gary Payton III, who was an integral part of them winning. Otto Porter, integral part.
Has he re-signed? Did Porter and Payton Jr. sign?
No, they're both gone. Porter is at Gary Porter Jr. I think is at. Gary Porter, Gary Payton III. I want to say is at. I want to say he's at Portland for some reason.
That's what I meant. Are they already picked up by other teams?
Yeah, they both got Otto Porter. Both of them got picked up. But,
Okay.
Golden State said they're looking at it, guys, okay, we have these three young guns in here. We have Moody, we have Wiseman, and we have Kamunga. So we got to start getting these guys in there. When do we go, okay, when do we got to start getting them some play? Because they're in the G League killing. But you
Right.
still got to get NBA time. And the problem is that with Golden State's team and what they have, you almost have to make them two-way players to be able to play in the G League just so they can get court time because they can't get on the field. Get on the court. So, what do you do with that? And, Wiseman's got to get – so he was the number 2 overall pick a couple years ago. When are you going to actually go, okay, we got to have him. We got to have him. He's got to get some playing time. Other than the G League. So
Well,
you look –
and they're afforded the luxury that they're not going to have a whole lot of high pressure if they get off to a slow start, or if they just prove that they can finish 4th in the West to win the title.
Yep, they just sure did.
They can get these younger guys. You can have a little load management happening and resting Clay and resting. Who am I?
You're talking about Clay, Draymond, and Steph.
Yeah, you could rest your Clay, Draymond, your big
Steph.
3 for a couple games and get these guys on the floor, and you're not going to feel the wrath like you would in some other places that haven't won a title.
Because now you have DiVincenzo and you have Poole.
Yep.
So you can bring in these other guys.
You got experienced guys that can come in and still go win games.
I remember you still have Wiggins. You still got the big boy. So you can put those 3 and you can bring in Wiseman, you can bring in Moody, you can bring in Kamunga. So you can bring in them and give them more and more playing time, more experience while you're resting your other guys. You can play them 60 games a year or 65 games instead of 82. So they can take time off and they can do all that.
They're going to be trouble.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going to be trouble. I agree with that 100%. On the flip side of that, Drew, the thing that I look at Golden State, which separates them, and I think the Celtics are starting to do the same thing. What they're doing is they're drafting well. They're developing their own players. And then they're picking a guy here and there from free agency.
Yeah, that fits their system.
They're saying, here's our system. This is what we got. Here are the type of players we have. This is what we need to do to fit the system that we have around the players that we have. And they've done a fantastic job of not listening to the white noise, not white, but you know what I'm saying, the noise that's around them to go, oh, no, we're going to do what the hell we're going to do. And which is why they picked Wiseman at number 2. He's 7 foot. He's long. He's athletic. He can run the floor. He can jump. He can finish around the paint. But mainly thing, he can block shots when people want to come get him. He can guard the pick and roll. So that's one thing that they because when you get a big man, to me, the question is, can you guard the pick and roll? Because in the NBA, if you can't guard the pick and roll, they're going to pick and roll you to death. They're going to pick and roll you to death if you can't guard.
And if you can't guard the pick and roll, you're going to be in trouble. Then you're going to be on the floor, and it's a snowball.
Which is what killed Gobert, because he get out there trying to guard the pick and roll, and you switch out, and if you're not going to get out there on that guard, they're just going to absolutely kill you from the 3. And that's what happened with Utah. But I think with Utah mainly. It was Donovan Mitchell and him not getting along. I think that was the chemistry part. Plus, they're just, Mike Conley, I don't think really gave them what they thought he was going to get. And the other thing is, the problem with me is being the best three-point shooting team in the league. That's great during the season. But in the playoffs, when it gets physical, the shots get less and you're still trying to shoot the 3 without having legs, doesn't work that way. Yeah. That's the thing that bothers me and worries me about that. You know what I'm saying?
Start getting those alligator arms shooting threes.
Oh, man. And you and I both played, and we understand that, hey, man, like I tell my kids all day long, your legs is the first thing to go. And when your legs go, you're in trouble. You got to figure, okay, I got to bend my knees. I got to do more. I got to focus on my fundamentals even more. And it's harder for kids to actually do that, and it gets them, or even adults, it gets them in trouble because – unlike KD, who shoot, because you and I talked about that when Steph went on that game. Was it game 3 where he had no threes for the first time in 200 and whatever games it was, something ridiculous. And I was like, I promise you, that night, somebody from Golden State or the trainers or whatever, I promise you, they were there till he made 1,000 threes. I promise you, they were there waiting while he was shooting. I told somebody goes, no, I go. I promise you, people were standing around in that gym with
Oh,
the
yeah.
lights on
Oh, yeah.
until he got his 1,000 threes or 500 threes or whatever it is he decided he was going to make before he went home. I promise you, he had people there rebounding the ball for him.
Yeah, 100%, no doubt.
And then he came off and went for, 45 the next game?
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, they were in trouble. And you and I both said that. They're in trouble. We got somebody like that goes like that, y'all are in trouble next time y'all see that guy. And that's exactly what happened. So, but I'm with you, Drew. There's so much to unpack. But we have today, we have tomorrow to unpack that because, it's going to be a bunch of
once
stuff.
you get a couple of these pieces, these dominoes fall, it'll start lining up, and you'll see a lot more movement. I think some of these guys that are out there, either that are up for free agent or in free agency right now, if Durant ends up on the move and Kyrie goes to LA, it's going to shake up the system.
Yeah.
I think you'll see a lot more movement.
Well, the problem with Brooklyn is seems like nobody wants to play with Ben Simmons. That's almost
Right.
their issue. I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's what it seems. It seems nobody wants to play with him. So what are you going to do with Brooklyn? That's going to mean, okay, we're just going to get draft picks, and we're going to play and get as many guys as we can who are young to fit in what we got.
Well, if you're Brooklyn, do you really know what you got? Do you know what you're going to get out of Ben Simmons?
No. Are you going to get the
Nobody
three-time
does.
Are you going to get the three-time All-Star? Or are you going to get the guy that's a shell of himself after the playoffs? Mm-hmm. That's the question. Because if you
he should be rested.
Well, he rested his back or whatever was going on, and I told him, I said, man, that's his mental stress of what happened to him. He just can't get past it. It's just like me in my senior year. I shoot 50% from free throws. I could not get it out of my head. I took jump shots. I stood to the side. I closed my eyes. I went sideways. I did step backwards. I shot away from I tried every single thing there was in the book and just couldn't make them. Because once it gets in your head, you're screwed. But it took me, once the season was over with, then I go to Chicago, I go to the tryouts and all that stuff, and everything came back, and then it was fine. But it was just once it was in my head, I just couldn't get out of it. So the question is Ben going to be able to get that stuff out of his head to get better? And if not, he's done. He's done. And that's just sad because, the guy was supremely talented, and he's one of those first-round picks who actually turned out to be a first-round pick for quite some time until he wasn't.
Right.
Until he wasn't. And but what a beast he was for those 3 years that he was an all-star, him and Embiid. And they were just really, at that point, they were only a couple players away, don't you think, Drew?
Mm-hmm. Yep. They definitely looked like they had the inside track on winning a title.
Well, because that year that, Toronto win it, if Kawhi doesn't hit that shot off the corner straight up, and I'm like, dude, that's a 1 out of 20 shot make that you can hit the front of the rim and it bounce straight up and go in like that. That's not a normal. That's just luck. That was you, God blessing you, saying, okay, I'm blessing you to win this title, and that's exactly what that was. Because other than that, it's like, come on, man, I ain't even trying to hear that, bro. I ain't even trying to hear that. So, but anyway, let's get into college football, bro.
All right, let's do it.
Notre Dame to the Big Ten, along with SC and UCLA. I like it. They're gonna have one more follow them, which I don't know who it's gonna be. It's probably gonna be Stanford. Yeah, well,
I would think.
Of that group in the Pac-10, it would have to be Stanford because or Oregon.
Yeah, Stanford or Oregon, but I think Stanford's your more logical pick
because of the academics.
Yep. Because we'd be an AAC member.
Because the whole thing is this: it's going to looks like it's two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC. Because
I just say it's going to be interesting where they slot those teams in the Big Ten West or the Big Ten East. I would assume that UCLA and USC would go in the Big Ten West, and that
Notre Dame would be in the East.
Notre Dame going to the East, but do you move if Stanford joins? Do you move over, say, Minnesota to the East, and put Stanford in the West? Will be interesting.
Well, the thing that I saw, I think it was Colin Cowherd. He was talking about how Labor Day weekend there's 95 games going to be played. 2 of them interesting. 2 worth watching. The next weekend there's 95 games played and there's 1 because college football's rankings have gone down. And I said, that's simply because they don't play anybody. They're so afraid of losing a game
Yep.
and not making the playoffs that they go and play these little teams that nobody cares to see except their alumni. Nobody else in the conference wants to see Alabama and University of Tennessee Chattanooga. Nobody wants to see that except Alabama fans, and they barely want to see it.
Yep, and that's why Alabama plays that game at the end of the year. That's just a get well game.
Yep.
They play like a UTCS or somebody like that on the 12th weekend of the year, right before Alabama Auburn, just basically to rest their players.
Rest their players, and like this year, remember that second week it is Alabama and Texas game, the second game of the year. So to me, I liked it back when. To me, it's like, okay, the best teams play each other. If the best teams play each other, that loss should not be. That should be like a W. If let's say Alabama and Texas, it's a close game and one of them barely beats the other. That's not a loss. That's still, you shouldn't drop. Now, if you get beat 20, you should be dropped. But if you
a 16 team playoff solves that though,
yes,
for the majority part of it.
Yes.
I mean,
but the problem with that is you'd have to you got to get rid of some games, which is okay. But the problem is those smaller schools that get that $500,000 a year, get $5,000 paycheck, they can't survive without that $500,000 paycheck for playing
like
Alabama.
South Dakota State comes into Lincoln second game of the year, and I mean that's half their athletic.
That's half their budget. Yeah,
getting $1 million.
Yep. And so that's that. It does help them when you do that. So that I completely understand why you do something like that, but at the same time, it hurts your rankings and it hurts people wanting to watch the sport.
Yep.
But at the other side, let's face it, those schools don't survive without that $1 million or that $500,000 or that $700,000. They don't survive, Drew.
Nope.
They don't survive. They have to have it. So college football is almost in a quandary to where, how do you get these teams who don't in the Division 2A? How do you get them? How do you keep them solvent? How do you keep them where they can actually have games? You see what I'm saying? How do you do that?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I don't know the solution to that, really, other than just giving them money, giving them a bigger portion of the pie. And if you do that, the bigger schools are going to be mad. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, for sure.
So,
for sure.
I mean, but what do you do? But to me, that's the thing I hate about college football. They don't play each other. Go play, me. Oh, you go play each other. That's what we want to see. And I promise you, if you had, because I saw this thing in the Big Ten. If you get all those schools, one weekend you got USC versus Michigan. And then the same weekend you'd probably have Ohio State against Notre Dame.
Oh, yeah.
Then you'd have the next weekend you have Penn State against Notre Dame, and then Ohio State against whomever, USC.
I mean, Nebraska's schedule is loaded this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they have two games. They play South Dakota State and Georgia Southern, and those games they open with Northwestern and Ireland. So there's a conference game right off. The first game of the year is a conference game. And then you got the two cupcake games, and then you go right into OU. And then OU, and that leads directly into the rest of the Big Ten schedule. So the Big Ten is going to be pretty much, I mean, you'll have teams in the Big Ten championship game that have 2 losses.
Right, which is fine. But see, to me, yep. If you're one of the best teams, you're one of the best teams. I don't agree with that. Cincinnati was nice, but you saw where they didn't belong. You see what I'm saying? You can be a Cinderella all you want to, but you don't belong. Now put them in a 8-team or 12-team or 16-team playoff, whatever you want to call it. Put them in a deal like that and say, okay, you 16 against 1, 1 through 4, y'all get a bye the first round, and then you let everybody else bang it out. But to me, I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, to me, I think it's 8 teams. I don't think there's 16 teams that are viable. I think there's 8 teams. Okay? I think there's 8 teams who are the top 8 teams in the country, or the top 8 teams in the country. I don't think you can put a number 14 team in there. Like I liked OSU, but OSU wasn't one of the top 16 teams in the country. You agree?
Well, if you do 16, basically what you replace that is that first round is going to be on campus somewhere, whether it be the top 8 seeds like you do, college baseball, and then you fill in your at-larges for the other 8 bids, and then those top 8 would have a home playoff game, and then you could use the bowl systems when you get down to 8 teams all the way up until the national championship.
Okay, so then you wouldn't have a postseason tournament. Because if you do a postseason tournament, you're adding multiple games, so you'd almost have to go, okay, SEC, ACC. You'd almost have to play each other.
No, you can use the bowl games as your tournament games. You just have to schedule it out to where the first round you could have on campus. You could do like an extra game, on campus, and then you go into where you have 8 teams left. You have 4 games there, and you use 4 bowl games, and then you have 3 games left.
No. I understand that. I'm talking about instead of saying the Big 12 championship, Pac-10 or the Big 10 championship, don't have that game.
No, it's useless anyway.
Yeah, don't have that game. Just go ahead and say, okay, let's forget that game. That's that. Your top teams that are playing anyway are going to be one of the top 8. Agree?
And you know what? It's cost the higher ranked team numerous times a national championship bid.
Yep, playing that game.
Losing in that championship game.
Yes, it has. So I think you take away that. You take the 2 top teams from each division. You give them a bye, and then you have everybody else play everybody else.
Yep.
I agree with that. And that cuts out that one game right there. That gives you that 16th or that 16 instead of playing, whatever was it,
and
1
just
against
imagine
16.
the TV coverage for a first round playoffs on campus.
Yes.
I mean, just the amount of money that it would generate, TV wise, concession wise, ticket wise. I mean, it's gonna be a moneymaker.
Yes, it will be. I agree 100% with that. It's just going to be. But the way it's set up now.
Can you imagine Oklahoma State being a top 8 and getting a home playoff game in Stillwater?
Oh, dude.
I mean,
they might actually have a sellout for the first time. I doubt it. But
yeah.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like OU basketball. Like OU basketball, no matter what, they can't sell out Lloyd Noble. No matter what. No matter who they are, they can't sell it out.
Well, I see they're building a new baseball stadium. They're going to leave. They're going to leave the basketball stadium alone. Is that what I saw?
Yeah, they're building a new softball. And my understanding is they've got almost all of the money raised. The Love family gave them a significant donation.
Well, they should have making off that gas.
Drew, significant donation to the OU softball team. And to me, the OU baseball team, okay, y'all baseball stadium is nice, but you don't deserve some over the softball team. They get one for you get one. They get one for you get one.
They got one. They got it approved. I saw a buddy of mine sent it to me that they're going to build a new baseball stadium.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but the softball is still struggling to raise their money to get theirs. You going to build a baseball stadium before a softball stadium?
You wouldn't think so.
No. No. I mean, OU baseball is nice and yeah, it's good, but it ain't OU softball. And then how you gonna prove the softball had to go out and get all their money raised privately? What was it 38 million, and they've got 36 of it raised.
Wow.
So, you're gonna go build you're gonna build a baseball stadium?
Mm-hmm. How for women's softball just during the year, like regular season games?
Packed
in Norman
and Stillwater, packed.
Yeah.
Packed. Both of them packed. Yeah. Yeah, but see, you can't.
That's a hotbed down there. It's
but
a
you
hotbed
can't.
in Oklahoma for
But
softball.
you can't build over an 8,000 seat stadium. 6,000 to 8,000 is about where you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Because consistently, you're going to average 5,000 to 6,000 for a weekday game at home. Is what you're going to average during the week. Weekend, you're probably going to be completely full. But now the way OU's reloaded in the softball, Jesus Christ, God, Drew, God.
I don't see him getting beat anytime soon.
Wow. Drew, I saw what they got. I'm like, okay, wow. And you know what? I don't see them OU fans crying about the transfer portal now, do you? You don't hear them crying about it?
Not at all. It's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, great. Oh, we see what we got to go. Oh, weren't you the same one crying when your guys left in football? Same guys crying, right? That was you.
I got a little argument the other night about that the OU pitcher, the lefty, the freshman.
They were supposed to go to supposed to go to Ole Miss.
Yeah, and he had the Tommy John surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And folks acting like he's going to come back to school. He's gone. He's first round draft.
Well, remember in baseball you have to be.
He's not coming back.
But Drew, you have to be gone 3 years.
I think he's been there 3
If
years,
you
right?
if you've been there, well, because you got out your freshman year, then if you had
then
Tommy
he had
John
Tommy John
surgery,
then he came back. So
but I'm saying is,
three.
he's a sophomore he's a sophomore redshirt freshman is what he is. He's a redshirt freshman, so that means he's got to play. He's got to do one more year.
Okay.
If he's a redshirt freshman,
Well,
he's got one more year.
Yeah, but if he can go, he's gone.
Yeah, I know, but you have in college.
He's not going to come back.
College baseball and college football, you have to be in.
You got to be on campus 3 years.
3 years. So, because like what they do with the football players, they rest in that freshman year, so you're a redshirt freshman, even though you're a sophomore, school-wise. So he has to have one more year, if he was a redshirt freshman. Now, if he set out a complete year,
that's what I'm looking to see exactly what that is.
That's what I'm saying.
They were talking on TV.
No,
like he was.
No, redshirt freshman. If you're a redshirt freshman, that means that this is your sophomore year. Unless you sat out one year that you did not play at all, then you played.
See, that's what I thought happened was he was a freshman, then he had Tommy John surgery the next year, and then this would have been his third year.
Yeah, but in that case, he's not a redshirt freshman.
Right. He's just a freshman.
He would be a sophomore.
Right.
So the question is,
did he get a COVID?
The COVID year. That's the question. If he got the COVID year, then he was a freshman. Then he had surgery. This would be his third year. So it depends. We have to look at when he graduated.
The argument boiled down to they really thought that kid would come back given the choice, and I was like,
not given the choice. No, not
he's
given the
gone.
choice.
If he can go, he ain't coming back.
There's no choice in that. If that's the case, he's done. There's no question about that. He'd be done. I'd be done. You'd be done. Everybody be done on that. That's ridiculous. So, all right, brother. Well, hey, let's run. I got to get some stuff done and go to the gym. Open it up, start dealing with some of these young kids, and then tomorrow we'll get together and we'll talk later this evening, and we'll see what NBA draft or whatever in the morning. What news is going on, and then we'll talk more about that. Look into.
I'm going to have to tune in tonight and check out Pippen and O'Neal for the Lakers.
Yep, I'm gonna look at that. And that's funny. They showed that picture in 2010 with LeBron and Shaq, and then 2022 with Shaq and LeBron. I was like, man, Shaq's son and LeBron. I thought, man, that's funny. Now that's funny. You've been in the league when you play with a guy and you turn around and you play with his son. You've been in the league a long time. You've been in the league a long time when you can do that. So, but anyway, brother. All right, well, let's get together tomorrow and we'll go into more detail, and I'll hit you up later.
Sounds good.
All right, that was my guy, Drew Henthorne, and we want to thank our sponsors today because, of course, you know where we were at. Y&B, family owned and operated since 1912.
The bank that makes things happen.
Yes, they do. And if you can pre-qualify online at www.ynbok.com, that's www.ynbok.com for any sort of loans to pre-qualify. There's some great peeps over there, and you definitely want to go watch them and go see them. Isn't that right, Drew?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And, who should they go see now?
They need to go see Carolyn. She'd be happy to see you.
Carolyn Henthorne, peeps. That's who he's talking about. Carolyn Henthorne. You don't get in trouble with that, man. You know that. I'm going to crack up with that. And then, of course, our other sponsors, Collaborative Logic. If you got any IT news needs, and our boy Mark Long over at SRB for any engineering, surveying, and planning. Of course, our guy, Jose Fierro, and his dump trucks at Oak Grove Trucking. Dump. He's trying to add another so he can be dump truck. And, of course, our guys, Greg and Max Nafee. And then, of course, Drew, we forgot to do it. Let's do it right now. Your Drew Henthorne Husker Drew picks. Let's go over those, bro. We didn't go over those.
Can we talk about yesterday, this throw that's 5-0 on the board?
Dude,
firecracker 5-0.
Dude, I can't say you've been on fire. I cannot say anything about your picks. You've been on fire the last 2 months that we've been doing this. What is that, third? Let me see. This is show number 57.
So just for you listeners out there, I went 5-0 yesterday with a hook. Had them all in a hook and went 5-0. Which is a beautiful thing on the 4th of July.
Yeah, it was. Your fireworks. And what? While you were at the lake.
Yeah, I didn't even watch any of them. Just tuned in late. Caught the end of it.
While you were at the lake, so there was no stress going on. You got to do that while you were at the lake. Anyway, so you have the Braves minus 145 to Drew.
Yep. They're on fire.
Yep. Padres.
They just continue to win.
Yeah, they do. Padres minus 135.
Yeah, I look for the Padres to heal up a little bit. They took one on the chin from the Dodgers last week.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, bro.
But hey, let's talk about that for a second. Every one of those games went under too. Dodgers,
Yes, it did.
Padres, they always do.
Yep,
They're always
and you
2-1
called that
or
one.
3-1.
You had the under. It was like under
Yep.
under 8 or something. That was a lot of runs under 8. Then you got, of course, the Mets, who are on fire right now, minus 225.
Yeah, the Reds are
terrible. Everything in Cincinnati is terrible. Their ownerships are just terrible. The Dodgers, minus 250. My Dodgers on a fly and on the roll again, man.
Yeah.
Then, of course, my Yankees, they are just, dude, go tell them, pay Judge. Pay him, man.
Yeah, they need to.
Pay him.
They're really good.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Their Yankees are just loaded at every position.
Yes, I agree with that 100. Pay the man, pay them, whatever you want to do. And then, of course, the Brewers, minus
give me the
1.
Brewers against the Cubs.
Dude, you just want to
give me the
drink.
Brewers
You
against
just
the
want to
Cubs
drink.
tonight.
You just want to drink,
Yep.
man. You just want to have a cocktail or two, bro. Just go on and fess up. You want to go to Milwaukee and have some of that
the Cubs
handcrafted
aren't
beer.
very good on the road.
You
Cubs
just
do not
just
travel.
a fess up. You want some handcrafted beer there at Milwaukee State. That's all I'm just gonna say.
I want
Just
to
tell the truth.
go down that slide in the outfield into the beer.
I can tell you, Trish is not going to be with you when you do that. She is not going to be
how
there. When
how do you
that.
get to do that? How do you get to get on the slide into a big thing of beer?
That is hilarious. Yeah, that's not.
And then what do you do the rest of the game? You just soak, I guess.
I guess you do. Well, if it's hot like it is now, they're going to take you but 30 minutes to dry off. I mean, 100 degrees, 98 degrees with the humidity, man, it ain't going to take long to dry off. So, all right, brother.
I'm at 100 degrees right now.
Dude, I don't know where it's at right now. My car is parked in the shade. I'm over here at George's Happy Hog. That's why we just want to thank Y&B for their sponsorship of black and minority and women-owned businesses so we can go do these remotes here at these locations. I'm surprised Randy and Carolyn, she's going to come here. She's only been here once. She said she needs to come back and get some rib ends. So maybe next week she'll come here and get her some rib ends. I might order some along with some of that because what I got today, I switched up on them, Drew. I got collard greens and potato salad today instead of my mac and cheese. I cut them up, and then I got chicken along with my hot links. I kind of traded up a little bit today. So
how's the coleslaw up in there?
I don't eat coleslaw, bro.
You don't eat
coleslaw?
See, now me myself, I'm a smokestack guy. I like the brisket.
I know you keep saying
I like to put me a little hot link, and then I like to top it with a little coleslaw. Then drizzle it with some spicy, maybe some spicy mustard sauce.
Bro, these hot links, they gon' if you have more than 2, I'll feel sorry for you when you go to the bathroom. Okay, light your fire. You ain't gotta add nothing to that fire, bro. And these ain't them regular hot links you buy with. These is those smokers, boy. When you go, it's like, hey, woo, let me handle. That's why I eat one a day. I don't eat more than one of those a day, man, because it's brutal on a brother. Brutal. All right, brother, I'll holler at you. Be safe.
All right, let's do it. Back at you.
Have a good day. That's my boy Drew Hinthorn of HuskerDrewPicks.com. You want to go check him out. He has been on fire. He could make you some money. That's www.huskerdrewpicks.com. Go see him. Go to his website and you'll be safe. But other than that, I want everybody to be safe. Stay cool.